Welcome back to Just One Podcast. My name's Jordan, alongside Garrett, as always. And today we have a very special guest with us. One of my good friends, John Sternagel, is alongside us today. John is a good friend of mine. We played college baseball together for a little bit, at least. He was a senior when I was a freshman, so he was on his way out, and I was, at the bottom of the food chain there. But really, our relationship didn't grow until after college, which is pretty funny. Probably in the last 2 or 3 years. So John was actually the officiant of my wedding. So
man.
yeah, that's how close and how much I trust this man. So we're super stoked to have him alongside us today, and yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it. Good news for the week, and then we'll get into some more questions about John. So, Garrett, if you want to go first, what do you got for good news for this week?
Yep, my good news of the week this week, guys, is college football is back. Yeah,
Let's go, baby.
It's got to be my good news. I can't, after the Georgia Tech Florida State game, I can't not use that as my good news. It just makes me happy. Saturdays are good again.
Are you going to tell me your feelings on the outcome of the Florida State and Georgia Tech game?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm feeling thankful that it was them to be the first top 10 team to be upset and not Alabama with our new head coach, because I think it'll soften the blow for me when we take our first loss.
Yeah.
So,
you can be like, yeah, sure, we might have lost, but what about them?
Yeah, they lost. They lost in Ireland. You guys went all the way across the world to lose.
Takes the heat right off you.
Yeah. So we're good. That's my good news of the week, though. I'm excited for the season.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that covers us all then.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah, it does. John, what about you, man? Do you have any good news?
I do. Good news of the week for me would be my son Walker start taking his first steps.
Dude,
let's go, boys.
Walker is a walker.
Yeah,
he
is. There you go. Perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah. Walker's walking. He took a few steps to his wife. To my wife, his mom Eva. Every time I try to get him to come to me, he looks at me. He's like, not worth the risk. He goes to her. He's on the move. So that's pretty exciting.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, Maddie showed me a video. I think Eva sent it to her yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was able to see it. So that was cool, man. That's awesome.
Just wait till your young lady starts walking. Something about that just jacks you up.
Yeah,
that's
great. I'm
great.
sure he's really living up to his name. That's good.
That's right.
Yeah, amen. A lot of pressure right there.
Yeah, it is a lot of pressure. Oh gosh, I was too busy thinking about what you guys were going to put for good news. I didn't even really come up with one for myself. Good news for this week. Let's see. We're finishing some more projects on Baby Girl's nursery. So
awesome.
That's it's like every single weekend, we try and have a plan of at least one thing that we're adding or doing to the room. So last weekend, doesn't overload me, but also, keeps me moving. So last weekend was window trim. None of the windows in our house have interior window trim, which seems bizarre, but you don't really notice it until you see a house that does have interior window trim, and you're like, mine doesn't have that. So
can't unsee it.
Yeah, you can't unsee it.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
So that was last week, and this week I'm looking into doing a kind of a DIY floating shelves. I'm not the most handiest of men, but I'm starting to gather my tools and
there you go.
Trying to
make you dangerous there.
Yeah, it really is.
That's a slippery slope too, Jordan.
It is.
Once you start getting those first couple tools, man.
Yeah, like
slippery slope.
My Instagram algorithm right now is just all woodworking and DIY projects, and never in my life would I ever have thought that I would ever open the Pinterest app. But here I am.
There you go.
Pinterest is the mecca for homeowners. It's insane.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is insane.
It's
my wife loves it.
It's in my top 3 apps for usage for this past week, which is interesting.
That's great.
But yeah, it's going good. I want to do like floating shelves. I could buy like a floating shelf kit, at Target. We saw some today, but I was like, you know what? Like, I one, it might be a lot easier just to buy the kit that they have right here in front of me, and it'll take me like 10 minutes to do it. But of course, I want to try and go the harder
That's
route.
right.
Yeah.
That's not what a man does.
No, it's
A man
Yeah.
not.
doesn't buy the ones right in front of him.
Yeah.
No,
He
Yeah.
that's right.
forges his own floating shelves.
Yeah, he does. He puts an extra 4 days towards it.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
good. That's good.
Hey,
So
Jordan, I think I've asked you this before, but what is the theme of the room you guys are making? Do you guys have a theme?
it's kind of like there's like subtle pink. We don't want to do like, okay, girl pink overload, like
Yeah.
explosion.
Yeah.
So it's like subtle pink, and then the furniture that we're trying to get in there is like a honey wood kind of color. So it kind of looks like a kind of like a little farmhouse kind of look,
Cool.
I guess. So
There you go.
or a barn or something, but it's
Sounds
coming
sharp.
together. It's a little messy right now. I got like my tools all over the place and the
Oh, yeah.
ladders in there, and
Mm-hmm.
just it's a
Doesn't need to
mess.
look good till she comes.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. So but it's one day at a time. But yeah, everything's
Great.
going well. So like I said, we have John Sternagel here with us. John, do you want to, I guess, talk a little bit about yourself? You don't have to go on a huge spiel.
Yeah.
I'll try and cut you short if I can.
Okay.
But but just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm a Christ following, God fearing man who has a almost a 1-year-old boy named Walker John who just, I mean, when you have your first child, it steals your whole heart and soul. So I'm a Christ follower. I'm a husband. My wife's my best friend. I laugh. I still call her my girlfriend because you still got to stay dating. You know what I
That's right.
mean?
Great.
You can't ever let that get stale. Kid
Mhm.
can make it easy to get stale, but if you put time
Mhm.
to it, it won't. So I'm a Christ follower. I'm a husband. I'm a dad, and then I guess you could say I'm a liver of life. Do you know what I mean?
I would
Well
say
said.
that.
I don't know if
I
liver of life's a word or I just
no,
I don't know. If
I would say that about you as well.
A liver of
So
life. I
I-
like that. It's very Matthew McConaughey.
Okay.
I'm a liver of life, man.
Yeah, I feel like now I say I'm like it sounds terrible. I'm a liver.
No, that's not terrible. That's cool.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm just a regular guy out here, just trying to drain this one time I got, for
Yep.
all I can.
That's right. I love it. I love
So
it.
that's it for me.
Let's talk about your transition into fatherhood. So you just said your son Walker is almost 1 now.
Yeah, wild. That's a fast
that is
year too. Holy
yeah.
smokes, boys!
That went by
Yeah,
really fast. Holy
my
cow.
Atlanta.
So how has life been as a new father? Like what was that transition like for you, and was there anything that like caught you by surprise or you didn't expect, going into this new stage of life?
Of course, I think like you're doing now, Jordan. You're getting prepared, and we did the same thing. So you get
Uh-huh.
prepared as you can, and then you realize you're not prepared.
Yeah.
Because how first how much you love them. It shocks you how much you love them, but how hard it is. Thankfully, my wife's absolute stud. Eva is the best mom and wife I could have ever wished for. So she takes most of the brunt. But the transition from regular life, just me and her, to you throw a kid in the mix, it's a big selfless change.
Yeah.
So it immediately becomes, especially being a dad, you'll be one soon, Garrett, one day, I'm sure. You immediately go from priority maybe to yourself, 1 or 2, to your bottom of the food chain. I mean, I'm below the dog. You know what I mean? So he's eating before I'm eating, So I think when you accept that with a smile and with grace and realize how big of a blessing it is to have a healthy son, a great wife, a great family, you do it with ease. shocks you a little bit, but then it becomes second nature, and it's a really cool journey. I've grew the most in this year I've ever grown in my entire life.
Yeah.
That's
That's
great.
awesome. So like what would you say, like what area of life, like your faith, like your personality wise, you know, how would you say that change has occurred, or
I
that
think
growth, as you
I
stated?
I think, well, my faith is number one,
Mm-hmm.
because before I had my son, and this kind of, I know we want to touch on the race, and this kind of leads into that a smidgen.
Yeah, for
Before
sure.
I had my son, I was probably about a month or so. See, and even I, just like you, Jordan, we're preparing, doing all the things, but it didn't really hit me until, because I'm busy. We're all busy running a million
Mm-hmm.
miles an hour, until I started feeling them kick. And I'm like, there's really a person in there. So I started thinking, kind of, okay, what characteristics do I want my son to have? Like what do I pray he fears God, and he loves Jesus with his whole heart and soul, and he loves people like we're called to. And I pray he's kind and gentle, but he has some grit and he's tough. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know if this world's going to get much easier for a young man. So I'm like,
Yep.
I pray for all those traits in him. And then it really started hitting me. It's like, hey, how can I model that to him?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to be the dad that's like, hey, you know, I don't know, chase your dream, or go, if you want to be a pro ball player, go for it. Like, I want them to know, hey, we're not scared to do hard stuff or chase hard dreams and goals, but I also want to show that in my actions too. Um, so over this year, my faith grew in that process of trying to become who I hope he'd look up to, and maybe some of these traits that I'm trying to develop in myself bleed off into him, because that's what, not only do I preach, but that's what he's going to see, I hope.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that's kind
Yeah.
of how over that year, that's pretty much where I've been putting my attention towards, trying to create the person I hope he looks at, he looks
Yeah.
up.
For sure. I think that's great, and then that does lead perfectly into what I
Yeah, I
wanted
figured
to.
I was doing that for you.
Yeah, no, I mean,
He's a
man,
natural.
I'll just hand over the hosting privileges to you and let you run the podcast.
One and done for me. I'll be fired after
Exactly.
this.
Yeah. I can't let you take my job. Um, so you have recently completed a 50-mile race. 50
Yeah.
mile, right? Not 50K.
No, the course was 51.5 miles. Yeah. Ultra
That's it.
marathon. Yeah.
51.5 mile race. And like I can't even fathom driving. Like I don't even want to drive 50
Yeah.
miles.
Yeah. Me neither,
You
dude. Me
know,
neither.
like
I'm not
if
sure
I
I've run 50 miles in the last year and maybe 2 years. I'm really not sure.
Hey, when I started, I ran 13. Well, farthest I've ever ran was 13 miles, and I did it one time. So
So how'd you get to 50? What ramped you up? Because that sounds like me. I'd be huffing and puffing after a mile and a half,
Mhm.
2 miles.
yeah.
How'd you ramp up to 50? What in the world? Walk us through how you got to that point.
Well, I got there first because I was like, okay, he's going through like I was saying earlier, thoughts on how I can mirror who I hope he becomes, and I was like, how do you mirror grit and toughness? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
how do you? But also, not like and be all like that. Like, that's not the toughness I'm talking about. The
Right,
toughness
Right.
is
right.
more like you're fearless. You're not scared to
Yes.
go chase that big
Yeah.
goal or dream. So I started Googling, man, and I found the dirtiest ultra marathon I could find. And it was 51.5 miles in the dead heat of summer, right in the middle of July. It's like 8 miles in the sand, about 20 miles in a Florida trail, which no one hikes in Florida. So imagine what this trail looks like. I mean, the
Yeah.
grass was like up to your knees, waist area. There was like
Goodness.
a mile of swamp that was waist high. You had to like lug through. There's a fully exposed bird sanctuary, and it had like sand at the bottom. So you get like the sun would bounce off it. Just tough, just nasty. And I said, that makes me scared. Like, that made me go, oh man, So I didn't sign up, and it ate at me for a couple days. And I was like, you know what? I got to put my money where my mouth is. I signed up, and I told my wife. I was the only person I was going to tell because I was scared. I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is too far. Let's see what she says. So I screenshotted and I paid to do this race. She's such a stud. She hits me back, goes, "You're going to do great. I'm so excited for you." And I was like, oh, now I have to do it. She thinks I can do it. So I just started Googling. I looked up training plans, and I found one. I had to download this app or whatever, and it popped up with a 50-mile running plan. And the first long run is what they call it, was on a Saturday, and it was 17 miles. And I was like, oh, no.
Holy cow.
That was the first long run of the plan?
Yeah, man.
That's the warm-up, right?
Yeah,
It's just a brisk 17 miles.
Right. But I'm also dumb, so I started a little late, so I kind of cut in a few weeks into it. So I didn't really start like week 1 like I should have. I think I started like week 10. And I've been active my whole life. Not a runner, like I said. I ran 13.1 miles, so a half marathon.
Yeah.
Once. So I had some time on my legs, and I've, like Jordan said earlier, played sports, and I've worked out, and I've stayed moving. But I wanted to take a leap of faith and just test myself. I don't think we all know. I mean, we're made in the image of God. Think about that. That made the earth. You know what I mean? And he made all of us, and there's his spirits in us. I was like, I wanted to see what I was about. You know, I wanted to touch that outer fringe. So it was like a 4-day-a-week plan, Garrett. It was, if you have 4 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, actually, now I'm thinking about it, for about 20 weeks straight.
Wow.
And I stuck to it. And when you hold yourself accountable, when you sign yourself up for something a little scary, and it don't matter if you've never moved an inch, or if it's public speaking, or if it's, hey, I'm going to go from the couch to 1 mile. Or whenever you sign yourself up, even if it's just you versus you, and you're the only person that knows, that's something that makes you a little scary. And you put systems in place to get to that goal. You start like building credit with yourself. Do you know what I mean? You're like, hey, I'm that type of guy. I don't make excuses. I get up at 3:30 in the morning to go run. Or I'm that type of guy that, XYZ. I'll prep my food earlier. I'll go to bed. Or and the next thing you know, you start buying into yourself of like, hey, I do have some grit. Or I am a tough guy. Or do you know what I mean? You kind of start forging this. You do, man. You do. And then you start expecting it from yourself. Like, half the time on these runs, I wouldn't want to get up. I literally would have to get up at 3:33 to get these in before work. No one wants to get up then. But when you do and you're done, dude, that feeling, unbeatable.
That's good. So I got a couple questions for you based off of that. So what you just said, I'm sure there were many days where you woke up and you're like, man, I don't want to do this. What did you tell yourself that got you out of bed, into your running shoes, and on the trail? Because I feel like that's the big thing everyone's digging for, is like, man, there's got to be some secret that like will get me through those times when I don't want to do it. So I know there's no secret, but John, what worked for you when you were like, man, I don't want to do this? But you got up and did it anyways. What did you tell yourself?
Nonetheless, for 20 weeks straight.
Exactly. Because that's a grind.
And don't give me, you said exactly 3:33 is the time that you would wake up every single
That's a
day.
grind. That's a grind.
Yeah, it is a grind. But I can tell you this first, and like you were saying, Garrett, the first month too stinks, right? And that's a problem. Most people quit in the first month. I want to quit every single day.
Yes.
But once you get past that month, you start, like we were saying, you start building up that credibility, and you put systems in place. Like, hey, if I'm getting up at 3:33, I need to be in bed by 8.
Yeah.
So what's it look like to get me in bed by 8? I know, I'm not going to steal time from my family. I knew that for a fact. I wasn't going to do this to where they sacrifice it all. That's why I got up early. I didn't want to say, hey, I could be playing with my kid, but I'm going to run instead. I didn't want to do it like that. That's why I got up early. So I put systems in place to help me. But truthfully, once you get past that month, you got to have, and it sounds cheesy because you hear it, but you got to have a real why.
Yeah.
And mine honestly was, I want my kid to know, hey, my dad's a regular dude. Like, he works 60 hours a week. He's a regular guy who's busy with a newborn, and he went out and ran 50 miles in the summer heat, 100-degree heat index, and he's a regular dude. And that was what would wake me up, because I want him one day to say, Dad, I want to be XYZ, or I want to be a pastor. I want to be and I want to know, hey, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know,
That's powerful.
Yeah, that, man. And I told my wife I was going to do it.
Yep.
Mhm.
That sounds
There you
lame
go.
too, but
Accountability.
yeah, I didn't want her to know I quit at something.
Yeah.
As lame as, I don't know if that's prideful or not.
No, that's great, man. That's wanting to be a man of your word. I
Yeah.
greatly respect that.
Yeah. Well, thank you, brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told her I was going to do it. And I don't have social media, so I'm not one posting about this. There was no one coming to say, hey, man, sick job this morning. Nothing.
Yeah.
No, it was just me.
Just you in the grind.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I just didn't want to let him down. Sounds lame, but that was it.
No, that's awesome. That's respectable, and I think it's hard to find these days when people's words can mean so little.
Thank you, brother.
So that's really cool, and it spurs a follow-on question. So I do want to ask you, and I'm gonna it's gonna require your honesty. Did you miss any days that you were supposed to train? Did you wake up or sleep in by accident, or wake up and you're like, I can't do it? Did you miss any time?
Dude, I missed one day, and
Okay,
One day.
bro.
one
I missed.
day. Walk
now
me
I-
through that.
Oh, I had to. Now there's some days I had that were so like just work busy nuts to where, say I had to run on a Tuesday, I'd move it to Wednesday, or I'd flip
Okay.
Monday and Tuesday due to
Sure.
mileage. But my weekly mileage, I was never short. Besides once I missed a 5-mile run. Dude, it ate me alive.
Oh,
I remember telling Eva, I was like, I got to put the hay in the barn because you can't fake 50 miles.
yeah.
So I didn't want to get into a habit of missing one, because I missed it pretty early too. It was in
Yeah.
that month. Then I was telling you guys that first month stinks.
Uh-huh.
I hit the snooze, bro. I never hit snooze.
Mm.
I hit the snooze, and the next thing you know, you've fallen back in that deep, cold, cozy, and then you're,
Yeah.
It brings one more time, and I just turned it off. And that was the one time I felt like a turd.
Yeah.
So that was
Did it make it
dude.
harder to move on to do the next day after that one, or were you more motivated to get back on the horse?
That's a great question, bro. I think I was a little bit, now I might be a little bit weird, but I think I was a little more motivated, because I'm
Good.
like, I think that's an easy route to get into, because that's the easy button. We all just naturally float towards comfort, I think.
Yeah.
But there's no growth in comfort. And that's what this whole process made me realize the most, is like you have to step out of your comfort zone and touch your fringes.
Yep.
And I knew if I hit snooze again, then how many more times? And how many excuses can you come up with? I don't have time. I'm tired. It's like, you got to make it happen.
Yep.
You know?
That's incredible.
But
yeah, that's really good.
Thank you, bro. I did miss one. I'm not proud of that, but I did miss
one.
one.
No. So I don't know if you ever read James Clear's Atomic Habits, but in the book he talks about, he says, never miss twice. It's okay to miss once, but you never miss twice, because if you miss twice, then you're starting to build that habit of missing it and getting out of your routine. So I'm very impressed.
Guy, Garrett. Yeah, you're a smart guy. I listen to that book when my runs.
There you go.
Yeah,
See?
yeah.
So
yeah,
never
dude.
miss twice.
You're dead right. Great book.
Yeah, very good. That's really cool. I'm glad you shared that. Jordan, did you have any other questions? Because I'm gonna keep pinging him with questions. If
no, I was just gonna say, that was going to be one of my questions. Is like, where does your mind go to when you're on these 17 or longer runs, mile longer runs? I mean, like, what is your thought process, especially when like you're starting to check out, around like mile 10 or whatever it may be, and you start thinking to yourself, oh gosh, dude, like I still have like 7, 8 or more miles.
That's real, bro. Yeah, that's real.
Where does your mind go into those kinds of times?
Well, during these like runs, like we're talking now, these longer runs where it is that big long gauntlet, is ahead of you, nothing makes you. I don't think us people realize how in the future we all live. We're hurrying home, and then we're hurrying to dinner, and then we're hurrying to bed, and we're hurrying to Walmart, or you're hurrying to go fix something in the young lady's room, or I gotta run. We're always rushing.
Always busy.
You're always busy. Everybody is.
Yep.
And if you're not, the sad part is, people pick up their phones and you're on the internet, you're doing social media stuff. It's like those long runs make you so present. Then it's a trained muscle though. So you have to basically talk yourself into realizing, hey, I can't go look at like my longest long run before the race was 32 miles. I was like, when I start, and you put on your shoes, you cannot think of mile 32, or
Mm-hmm.
you won't leave your house. You just got to say, all right, I got to start.
Yeah, that's a
once
great point.
and then once you start, you just tell yourself, I'm not quitting. I'll walk, I'll sit down, I'll crawl. My watch is going to tell me I ran 32 miles when this is over.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I feel like that really leans into a lot of our conversation that we've talked about in any of our episodes of when we're talking about goals and setting goals is like you're too focused on the end result, and you're comparing the end result to where you currently are right now, and you're like, man, that's a long ways off. You know, like
you said that perfect. It's exactly
yeah,
right.
it's like, how I have to do this over and over and over and over and over and over again, and I'm still so far away from that end goal. And it's like, no, like why don't I just complete like mile 1? Let's complete the first 5 miles,
Perfect.
and then we'll just keep building from there and keep building from there. So
perfect. Got to just start.
Yeah, I think you described it perfectly as like, looking at that mile 32 of you can't look at that mile 32.
Because then you might not go.
Yeah.
Because who goes, man, that sounds great. It's 90, it's 94 degrees out. I'm gonna go run 32 miles. That's a blast.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
But you fall in love with the process. It makes you present, and you gotta just start. So it doesn't matter if your goal's running a 1 mile, or a 2 mile or a 5K. It doesn't matter. Whatever your goals are, just start.
Awesome.
Yep.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love that.
You do buy time too. I know we were talking about like on those runs where you think, I did a lot of quiet. Honestly, it grew my faith with the Lord because a lot of prayer time. I'd run the first couple miles in dead silence. Like I said, by the time I hit the road, it'd be probably 4:15, 4:30. No one out there. The stars are shining, the moon's shining. You feel like you're a little ant. It's no one on the road. It's quiet. So I do some prayer to start, and then I'd listen to the Bible on Audible, which helps you hear, which changed my whole, like, I got to hear the actual Gospels as like the real love story that it is. Changes my whole thought on just how incredible the Lord is. He loved us all enough to send his son to die for us. You know what I mean? Change, just grew my faith there. Like Garrett was saying, Atomic Habits, I'd listen to some books. So I changed it up. Sometimes I do music. I changed it up to keep me kind of, I guess, entertained too.
Yeah, keep your mind elsewhere other than on your feet.
Yeah, you're dead right. Yeah, you don't want to start thinking, man, my legs feel terrible. Don't want to do that.
That's great.
That's cool. Garrett, you have anything?
Yeah, so I know we've been talking a lot about the race, and I'm really, really I think you shared some awesome points, John. I want to ask you, moving forward, what's your next big, I want to touch the fringe. Do you have any ideas moving forward, or
that's a good one?
Are you going to run again? You think you're going to test yourself in another area? What are you thinking?
Yeah. See, here's the problem. And I'll tell you, it's the best. And I pray, and I mean this, and you too, because you guys are great men. All our kids, our friends, I pray everybody sets their goals for something hard, then puts in the work to get to that goal. The goal comes and they achieve it. That feeling right there, boys, unbeatable.
Yeah.
So I haven't felt like I mean, it's like getting married, having a kid. Finishing that race was like somewhere in like the 3 to 6 range behind.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So it's an incredible feeling. So I did get bit, man, and I'm gonna do 100-miler in February.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I didn't realize we had David Goggins on the podcast.
No,
goodness gracious.
That's the thing. No, so I couldn't be less, man. I couldn't be less cool. That dude's real tough. I'm not. I got to know what it feels like. I got to touch that. Outer fringe.
That's the fringe of the fringe, brother. That's special.
Thank you, man. Yeah. So I got to try it.
Yeah.
So I think the race I'm doing is in February 22nd, I think. And the plan I'm going to do starts in a month.
Wow. All right.
So where is that one?
It starts in the Cape.
That's right. You told me this.
Yeah, it starts in the Cape all the way in like the tip, goes all the way down to Jensen Beach and over a bridge or two down there. So it's pretty much 100 miles down A1A, which the 51 and a half I ran, I actually got lost. So I ran 54 miles. And like I said, it was through, dude, I'm not kidding you. It was like swamp and grass and sand and just gnarly. So it wasn't very like runner friendly.
Yeah.
This seems to be a runner's course. You know, it's pretty much straight down A1A. So I'm
That's
thinking,
good.
yeah. So by no means, I mean, that distance is insane. So no, it don't matter if it's on a treadmill, that's a gross distance.
That is crazy.
And any mad respect for anyone that just signs up or even thinks about it. So I want to try it just because.
Heck yeah. Well, just
awesome.
one, folks. You heard it here first. We can hold John accountable. He's running a 100-mile race.
Thank you, bro. That's
we'll have to check in with him in February if he's still alive.
Give me a shout.
We'll roll him in on a wheelchair into the studio and get him on a bike.
I'll be taking donations to fix my legs.
That's
awesome.
So I want to talk about like the actual race, when you were in the actual race. So you did your whole training process, all of your preparation, and you get to the race. Walk us through that day and whenever the hardship struck. You said you ran a couple miles off the course. Like, what was that like, knowing that training process was like in the back of your mind and all that work that you had put in?
I think you said it perfect, Jordan. First and foremost, if you want to hit the starting line with confidence in anything, you got to put hay in the barn. You got to put in the work.
It's hay in the barn, man. I've never heard that one, but I'm going to steal that.
Good.
That's good.
Steal it, bro. Yeah.
Hay in the barn.
Thank you. Yeah, you got to put in the work. You want to know that when you get up there, you're not faking it. Like, hey, I was, at least in my mind, I knew, hey, I ran 32 miles, right? And so if poop hit the fan, I will walk or crawl those last, 19 and a half to finish this race.
Yeah.
So first, honestly, you want to do anything cool, put the work in beforehand so you can hit the line with some sort of confidence. And then that race itself, man, first of all, I was like sick a couple days before, so that had me scared. Because the race is one day, but you train for 4 months.
Right.
So the race is almost like, it might not go as planned. So you got to enjoy that whole journey and that process, which I ended up loving it. And that's why I'm doing the big long race, because you just build so much credit with yourself, But throughout the race, I think I cried probably 3 times. I yelled. My dad was my crew chief. He was meeting me in different spots. We kind of mapped out along the trail to give me new snacks and foods. And there's a science behind this thing too. So it's not just you get out and see you guys, I'm going for a run.
Yeah. Sounds like a village.
Yeah, it does. It does. So thankfully I had amazing people. My wife's a stud. She helped me, would run with me, get me all the goodies, prep my food and clothes and stuff. But it's like real life, dude. In these races, you get a whole life crunched into a 12-hour and 22-minute window. I mean, you'll get lost. You'll get sand in your shoes. Banana spiders the size of my hand hanging around you. But you got to keep going. It's like if you sit and feel bad for yourself because you hit a speed bump in life, you're going to go nowhere. Because the world's going to keep going. People no one's going to sit and feel bad for, you or I, if life didn't go out as we planned or we hit a life speed bump. You have to keep chugging along.
Yep.
So I think throughout that whole race, you just got to have will. Like, hey, I know it ain't going to go good. I know it's not going to be the best day of my entire life and everything was going to go perfect, but I'm finishing. So no matter what, I'm getting to that finish line.
Yeah.
Although
awesome.
when I did run 2.5 miles off this trail, and I ain't gonna lie to you, that
had to have been defeating, right?
So defeating. I was probably at mile, I think I was on mile like 27, 28, and I was running, and I'm like, I think I was just here. And I had to make a cut into this little swampy area. It was a little hard to find. And then it was in the shade too, so I was running really hard because there's no shade this whole trail. So literally heat index was like 104. And I finally found shade, so I was running hard to try to make up some speed for him. I had to walk earlier.
Yeah.
and I was running hard in the wrong direction. I was like, oh,
Oh.
Oh,
no.
man.
But like I said, just,
Yeah.
no one's going to come out and pat me on the back. Say, hey,
That's right.
it's
Yeah.
okay, buddy. Let me
Yeah.
give you a ride to the starting line. It's like, got to keep going.
Yeah. So I know, but for those who don't, what were the results of your 51.5 miler here?
Yeah, that is true.
Or say 54.
Yeah,
miler.
that is true. Yeah, I did run a little extra, but I never once, right? Like I said earlier, I just want to finish. So my wife knew I would, of a man of my word, and my son, I built some street cred with my kid. Never once I try to win this thing or anything like that. I get to the finish line and I'm hugging Eva, and my dad's there, and I'm giving him a hug, and the lady comes up and goes, "Congratulations, you got your second overall and first male." I didn't even turn around. I was like, "There's no way she's talking to me." Like, I'm just a regular dude. There's no shot. All these stud athletes out here, I was like, there's no way she's. I didn't even turn around. She had to come grab me. I was like, here, come take a picture. I was like, me? And yeah, I got second overall, first male, and I missed out of first place by 10 minutes, and I ran an extra 2.5 miles.
Man, John, that's incredible.
I know. So my inner, I don't know if it's good or not, but my goal is never to win this thing, and I don't. If I never win one, I don't care. I just want to finish it. But my inner little bit of pride, or maybe it's competitiveness, was like, oh, I would have been sweet to win it now. And
That's right. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
That's the competitor and liver.
Yeah.
That's the liver of life in you.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
My
That's
liver
the
of life.
That's
my
right.
liver of life. Yeah, I think so. So that was icing on cake. That was icing on the cake.
That's incredible.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
I mean, just doing something like that is a win. Like.
Yeah, 100%. Anyone that goes to, dude, it can be a 5K, a 1 mile, whatever it is. It's the distance for me. That was what made me scared. The heat, the tenacity of the course, the distance. That's what made me scared. But that's not what the distance ain't what it's about. It's about setting something that makes you a little nervous.
Yeah.
Working hard to achieve it and then finishing it. You don't need to be first. The hardest working guy at that race finished last. You know what I mean? That dude was out there for a while.
Yep.
Yeah. True.
So I think it's just finishing these things, setting little goals and knocking them off your list. Stacks up bricks of just confidence and grit,
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool to get second. I can't lie.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That
was
awesome. Been like so rewarding and just like almost like an acknowledgement from God, of just like, hey, like I put in, through the strength that the Lord has given me throughout this whole process, I was able to go out there and without even trying to accomplish, second place or first place or whatever, like it just, I can't even imagine that self-fulfilling moment.
Dude, you're dead right. The Lord provides more than we ever thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I didn't need to get second place, but now that he gave me that, I was like, wow, maybe I'm pretty good at this. Or,
yeah.
That tasted nice.
You're dead right, Garrett. That's I was like, oh, that was a little bit sweet. Maybe there's a little more in my tank. Maybe I can, maybe, that's kind of what led to the longer distance race coming up. But it makes you appreciative, man. It's like, I'm just grateful I get to run. How many people can't even run?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or have just illnesses or different issues, and silly old me gets to go out there and run for fun. So I'm grateful for that. I got to enjoy 12 hours and 22 minutes of being outside. I knew my wife was taking care of my boy, so I never had to sweat on anything like that. My whole family was there. They're the best. My parents are amazing. Like I said, my wife's amazing. So I'd come in to the cruise station. They'd all were sitting there hanging out. My sister and her kids and my brother-in-law came, like Eva's parents came. So I got a whole village around me. It just made me so grateful. I'm like, I can't not give my absolute best effort with a crew like that. The Lord gave me abilities to run. It's like, I just felt like I would be doing everybody a disservice if I didn't just burn the boats.
Yeah.
You know?
Awesome.
That's great. That's great.
Thanks,
Garrett. did you have any other questions?
I don't think so, man. I think that's an incredible story, and that everything you've been talking about here is exactly what we want to do on this podcast. Is just kind of
Mm-hmm.
highlight people that they fear the Lord and they care about their integrity and their character. And John, I think you've talked a lot about that today, just with wanting to be an example for your son, wanting to keep your word to your wife, wanting to stay consistent and stay be a strong-willed man of God. I think is really, really impressive. And I'm impressed, and I respect you a lot for that. But I respect you more for coming on here and sharing that story. So I greatly appreciate it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Garrett, that was so nice, brother. Thank you, man. Yeah, thank you, Garrett. And the good news is I'm nothing special, you know? I'm just trying to be a little bit better version of myself daily. And we
That's
can all
right.
do that, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
That's the name of the
Great
game.
mindset.
Thank you,
The name
brother.
of the
And
game
thanks
right
for those
there.
kind words, bro. Appreciate that.
You got it.
John, one last question before we head out here. If you had to give one piece of advice to somebody who, has set just those far out goals for themselves that, seem unattainable to them of where they are at now, what would that be? What would you say to them?
It's a good question, Jordan. My advice to someone that was trying to really chase something,
Push their bounds.
push their bounds, I'd say one, that's a good question. I would tell them, my advice. My first advice, I guess, would be, have a good enough why. And I know that sounds lame, but if your why is to, I don't know what it could be, look cool on the internet maybe, or I don't know what your why would be, but have one because you're
Yeah.
going to need it. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
going to need it because
Yes.
no matter what it is, if it's, maybe if you're going from 0 miles to 1 mile, maybe that's, hey, I want to be able to move so I can run around with my kids,
There you
or
go.
I want to get in shape so I can live longer, or I want to be able to, I don't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got to have
Yeah.
a good enough why. I think that'd be one. Maybe the second piece would be everyone hits with the, I don't have time thing. We're all busy. You got to make time.
That's great.
You're worth it. Your energy's worth it. And that reward waiting at the end of accomplishing something hard is one of the greatest feelings the Lord gave us on this earth. I'm telling you guys. I would say put in good practices to get you prepared for that.
Got to have a good system. We
Got to
talked
have a
about
good
that.
system. Got to have a good system in place because you can't will yourself forever. You got to have methods in place to make this hard task easy as it can be.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Thank you, boys.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I feel like I'm taking so much away just from this conversation, and I know others will too who are listening to this. So
I hope so. Yeah, and I'm so grateful you guys have me on here.
Dude,
Thanks for
this
giving
has been
me
one
a
of my favorite
shout, Jordan.
episodes, man.
Oh,
this
thanks,
has been a
boys.
lot of fun.
Yeah,
thank you. I feel bad. I've been chatting it up the whole time, but no one
That
ever.
was the point, brother.
That's why we wanted you on here.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I was grateful you guys invited me. No one really knows. I'm pretty ghost on the computer, so I wanted to share this because I'm just a regular guy that achieved, in my mind, for me, something cool, and I want other people to. It's don't matter how big or small, just go do something.
We want to make more livers of life.
Yes,
that's what we want to do.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm embarrassed I said that. I should have came up with something
better.
better.
That's incredible. I love it.
I think that's awesome. That might be the name of the episode.
Liver of life.
I'm down with it if you are, man.
Yeah, that might be the name of the episode. We'll see. Well,
thanks,
John, thank you for your time, man. I mean, seriously, thank you for the conversation.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
I'll say for myself, for sure. I mean, you inspired me to do a lot of hard things. So
thank you, man.
I know this conversation will inspire others as well. So
thank you. I pray so. That was before I hooked onto here. I said a quick prayer. I was like, I pray, just like the podcast, at least one person.
Yep.
Just goes, hey, And it don't have to be physical. It could be public speaking. It could be getting in the word more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hope just one person goes, I'm going to start taking an action towards something that I've been delaying.
Very good.
For
So
sure.
thank you, boys. Thanks for giving
For
me a little
sure.
bit of a platform. Appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime, man. And we will absolutely have to have you back on here once you get that 100-miler in.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. That sounds
We'll
scary
chat
just
about
hearing
that
it.
one. We'll
Thank
chat
you.
about that one a little
Thank
bit.
you. Thank you. I'd love to
So
come back.
thank you guys for listening in, tuning in this week. We hope he made you laugh. We hope he made you smile. Now it's your turn. Go impact just one person. See y'all.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.